What does the Joker really mean in Alice in Borderland? Why did Ryuji betray Usagi and then sacrifice himself at the end? Who is the Watchman, and what does his cryptic warning about a global catastrophe mean for the story moving forward? And finally, what's the deal with that California waitress named Alice in the final scene? Welcome back to Your Nerdy Show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master, and today we're diving deep into Alice in Borderland Season 3. We'll be recapping the season from start to finish, exploring the brutal new games, shocking twists, character arcs, and of course, breaking down that wild ending that sets up Season 4 on a global scale. Strap in, because this was the darkest and most mind-bending season yet. The new beginning, after the meteorite. Season 3 kicks off in the real world. Arisu is being interviewed about the meteorite that devastated Tokyo, an event that he, and thousands of others, barely survived. But while most people chalk it up to trauma and hallucination, fragments of the Borderland linger in Arisu's mind. He doesn't consciously remember the games, but something inside him feels off, as though he's lived through a surreal nightmare. The interviewer is Ryuji Matsuyama, an assistant professor obsessed with near-death experiences. He's been collecting testimonies from survivors, trying to connect the dots between their shared visions. Many describe fireworks and games. Among them is Usagi, who also survived. The Ryuji treads carefully. He knows pushing too hard might plant false memories. Now married, Arisu and Usagi are trying to move forward with their lives. But while Arisu buries his unease, Usagi struggles with recurring nightmares about her father's death. She can't shake the sense that her choices and her pain aren't finished with her yet. Ryuji's recruitment. Meanwhile, Ryuji himself gets pulled into the shadows. He's invited to a mysterious seminar at the Kato-side office, but instead of an academic talk, he finds himself inside a game. The rules are simple. Draw cards. Anyone who pulls a joker dies instantly. It's a terrifying initiation, but Ryuji survives. When the dust settles, Banda steps out of the shadows. Now just another twisted player, Banda now serves as a recruiter for the Borderland. He welcomes Ryuji to the fold, telling him he has what it takes. This moment cements Ryuji's role as one of Season 3's most fascinating characters, a man torn between scientific obsession and moral corruption. Fragments of memory. Back in Tokyo, Arisu reconnects with Anne, who hints that the games might not be entirely over. Though his memory is foggy, pieces of his past experiences begin to resurface. Usagi, haunted by her dreams, revisits the abandoned seaside paradise hotel. The empty halls trigger fragmented flashes of trauma, and soon after, she disappears. Suspicion falls on Ryuji, especially when police discover he was with her. Digging deeper, Arisu finds Ryuji's files filled with Usagi's recorded confessions. She had opened up about her struggles and her inability to move on fully, giving Ryuji exactly what he needed to manipulate her. Then Banda makes his move. He slips a joker card into Arisu's pocket, jolting his memories into sharp fragments. Soon after, Arisu finds Usagi comatose in a hospital bed, and shockingly, pregnant. Even stranger, Ryuji lies comatose in the next bed, both with joker cards in hand, and explains the truth. Borderland exists in the 2-minute threshold between life and death, a liminal plane where souls linger. Determined to save Usagi and confront Ryuji, Arisu deliberately stops his heart and plunges back into the games. Sacred Fortunes. Arisu awakens at Hikawa Shrine, lanterns glowing all around. The first game is Sacred Fortunes. Each player must draw 10 fortune slips in 1 minute. The slips trigger math challenges or luck-based riddles, with mistakes calling down fiery arrows from the sky. The larger the error, the more arrows rain down. A drugged man named Tetsu somehow pulls great fortunes again and again, while others fall victim to impossible questions. In one brutal round, 448 arrows descend. For his final challenge, Arisu draws extreme bad luck and must estimate the world's population within 100 million margin. Disaster looms, until he realizes the fortunes themselves were clues. The arrows' directions matched the messages. Using this knowledge, he leads survivors northwest into a hidden tunnel that shields them. Many die, but those who follow him survive, clearing the game. But this season has no visas. There's no rest, no pause. Survivors are thrown straight into the next nightmare. Zombie Hunt. The second game is Zombie Hunt, a 20-round duel-based deathmatch. Each player gets 7 cards, and higher cumulative suits win, but 3 special cards change everything. Zombie card. Instant win, but infects the loser. Shotgun card. Kills zombies, but kills the user if played against a zombie. Vaccine card. Cures zombies, but not the holder themselves. At the end, whichever side has more survivors, humans or zombies, wins. Chaos erupts as alliances fracture. Ikeno, a hot-headed player, pushes an aggressive kill-them-all strategy. Ray, a blue-haired optimist, proposes a trust system to reveal zombies. Kazuya, a former Yakuza, grows restless and murders a cardholder. Amidst this, Arisu carries a shocking secret. He has been a zombie since the very beginning. When he finally reveals the truth, he infects Ray and later Tetsu, tipping the balance. Nobu, another desperate player, infects Kazuya. By the final round, 32 zombies face only 13 humans. The humans are slaughtered, and the zombies claim victory. For the first time, Arisu embraces the role of a monster, but survival demands it. Usagi and Ryuji, Runaway, Train. Meanwhile, Usagi and Ryuji face their own game, Runaway, Train. The rules are cruel. Players must pass through 8 cars to stop the engine. Each car seals after 30 seconds, then fills with either oxygen or poison gas. Each person gets 5 neutralizing canisters, usable only on themselves. At first, the group believes the gas release is tied to pantographs atop the train. For a while, the theory works, until it doesn't. Traps escalate, canisters dwindle, and the train barrels on. In Episode 4, survival grows desperate. Spotting a parallel train, players attempt dangerous jumps. Some fall, but Ryuki makes it. On the other train, Arisu. For a brief moment, the two groups reunite, only to be split again as the tracks diverge. Semifinals, Bingo Tower, and Kick the Can. The survivors advance to the semifinals, split into 2 venues. Usagi's team tackles Bingo Tower at Tokyo Tower. The game? Activate buzzers across the unstable structure to form a line. The catch? The final buzzer sits at the very peak. Confronting her trauma over her father's death, Usagi climbs, even after a teammate falls horrifically. She hits the top buzzer, winning the game. Arisu team faces Kick the Can, a deadly twist on the children's game. Here, cans are bombs. Passing them resets timers, but dropping one means instant death. Arisu, Ray, Nobu, and Tetsu barely scrape through. Kazuya, the former Yakuza, makes a final sacrifice, embodying his criminal spirit to save the group. But peace is fleeting. Afterward, Ryuji secretly meets Banda. Banda insists Arisu belongs in Borderland forever. Handing Ryuji a gun, he orders him to kill Usagi to sever Arisu's tether to the real world. Possible futures. The final game begins inside a digital reconstruction of Shibuya. Each player must follow their digital double through a labyrinth of 25 rooms. Arisu and Usagi reunite, but with a shocking twist. Usagi's unborn baby is counted as the 10th player, complete with its own wristband. 2 lives to protect, but no extra points. The game is called Possible Futures. Each round, players roll dice to determine how many can advance. Each room projects visions of the player's potential futures. Choosing a door means choosing a fate. Every move costs 1 point. Stay still, and a point is deducted per round. Enter a minus room, and points drain rapidly. Hit 0, and you die. Initially, Arisu urges teamwork, but visions begin tearing people apart. Sota and Yuna case brighter futures, abandoning strategy and leaving Rei trapped in lockdown. Tetsu, haunted by his lost lover Yukiko, steps into a -8 chamber and dies instantly. Nobu barely scrapes through. Sota meets a cruel fate, while Yuna survives, devastated. By the end, the survivors realize the exit lies in room A5, but trust is fractured, points are low, and sacrifices are inevitable. The Watchman. The final stretch is brutal. Usagi uses the baby's wristband to survive room A3, but visions of Ryuji shooting her shake her resolve. Yuna and Ryuji risk everything to help recover the wristband, ensuring survival. Finally, all survivors gather in room A5. The callers vanish, signaling victory, but the dice demand one last roll. The result allows only 7 players to leave. With 8 still alive, 1 must stay. Arisu volunteers. He sacrifices himself so Usagi, their child, and the others can escape. But Banda intervenes. He tempts Arisu with citizenship in Borderland, urging him to embrace eternal games. A flood erupts, threatening to consume the survivors outside. Arisu smashes the walls and pulls them to safety. The Usagi is swept into the water. Diving after her, he refuses to let her go. Time freezes. A shadowy man appears, the Watchman. Unlike the Joker myths, he's not a ruler, but a guardian of the liminal plane. He offers Arisu a choice, life or death. Both cards are jokers, symbols of uncertainty. Choose death, and the vortex consumes you. Choose life, and you endure hardship. The Watchman warns of something massive coming, a catastrophe that will kill millions and send countless souls to Borderland. He believes Arisu will eventually return. Arisu chooses life, but not for himself, for Usagi. When she's caught in the vortex, Ryuji redeems himself. He saves her, tells them to keep living, and surrenders himself to the void. The ending. Back to life. Arisu awakes in his body, only 2 minutes having passed, and confirms he barely survived. Usagi wakes in the hospital, teases Arisu that she's hungry, and together they process the shock of her pregnancy. Ryuji doesn't make it back. In the streets of Shibuya, survivors from past seasons, Shishia, Quina, and others reappear, reuniting with Arisu. For a moment, it feels like peace, but the Watchman's warning looms. News reports announce global earthquakes, hinting the next games will be worldwide. The final scene jumps to California, where a waitress named Alice serves customers. The camera lingers on her name tag before cutting to black. Is Alice the next game master? Or will California become the new Borderland arena? Season 4 is already shaping up to be the biggest and most dangerous chapter yet. Our nerdy thoughts. And that wraps up Season 3 of Alice in Borderland. We saw Arisu and Usagi face heartbreak, betrayal, and impossible choices, all while the games pushed them to their absolute limits. Ryuji's redemption, Banda's twisted manipulations, and the reveal of the Watchman added entirely new layers to the Borderland mythos. But even with Arisu and Usagi finding their way back, the ending teased something much bigger, a global stage, and a catastrophe that could dwarf everything we've seen so far. So what did you think of Season 3 of Alice in Borderland? Was Ryuji's sacrifice enough to redeem him in your eyes? Do you think the Watchman is telling the truth about what's coming next? And what do you make of that California tease? Is Season 4 about to take Alice in Borderland worldwide? Drop your theories and predictions in the comments because the discussion is just getting started. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next breakdown. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep playing the game.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.